Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone who can hear the sound of my voice to this week's edition of the Petty and Ill-Informed podcast, where we venture our petty and ill-informed opinions about a variety of topics. Joining me is my only panelist tonight, Chom. How are you?
Yeah, all right. It's very full on at work. One of the things I've realised this week is I have to be good at so many. I mean, a teacher, especially in a special needs school, has to be good at so many different things. It's nuts. You have to be kind, compassionate, and resilient in the face of any crises that the children might go into, or any adverse and unexpected things that can happen during your day. And we just do our best to help and care for children, in every single way. You're trying to help them learn. You're trying to manage all their medical needs and manage your daily timetable and the lunch schedules and things. You're having to be a diplomat working, managing a tight team of 5 people, including myself, in a at times quite a challenging environment. That's just the way it is. No criticism to anyone, of course. And I think the world of my team. I've told them so. They work their socks off. They're great. And you're also having to be. This is where I struggle with being a really efficient manager of tasks and routines and things like that. That is something I do not find easy. Just managing time effectively and getting things done quickly is just not my middle name at all. My dad used to call me a procrastinator. Later in my life, I was diagnosed with ADHD. And as I've probably whinged about before, they've never quite found a way to get to the bottom of it and sort of find me really strategies that are really genuinely effective. And yeah, there's just always a lot going on and an awful lot to do. We did have our school production this week, which was fabulous. A lot of the feedback from parents was very good. And that was nice. We did Scrooge. I was Mr. Fozziwig, and I had to lead everyone in a dance, and that was all a lot of fun, and really well done from our music coordinating team. So, currently putting a couple of parcels together for stuff to go to America for a friend of mine. Very, very good. 2 very, very good friends of mine. One, it's part of her nickname is Sparrows, and my mum, being an RSPB fan, goes to lots of nature reserves, as you might do, Richard. And
I do.
to see if she could find a sparrow, and she found a cuddly sparrow. So I've got that to bundle across the sea from my mum and I, of all things. And I've got my other friend Carrie, bless her, it's a little Christmas bundle for her and her triplets. So yeah, all's been bundling those together. Cooked a massive curry earlier tonight. It was a very different one. I put in plantain, big cassava root, boiled that for ages first. Okra, cauliflower, and tons of coriander with spices and coconut milk. Served with rice, a little Asda, not very sophisticated, a little Asda. What are they called? There's a snack, Indian snack selection. That's it. Bhajis, pakora, and samosas. Still got some samosas over there. Might nibble one of them in a minute. And
Love a samosa.
oh yeah, they're
I
wicked.
love egg rolls the most, though.
An egg roll.
Yeah, I love egg rolls.
Obviously, if I was going to have egg, in inverted commas, being a vegan hipster douche, as you haven't referred to me in some time as, incidentally, thank you for that.
I've softened towards you.
Oh, bless.
I feel like even though, Your views are evil and should be stopped at all costs before the infection spreads and leads to the downfall of our entire civilization. You've had a rough year, so, I've tried to be nicer to you.
I don't know how vegans will lead to the downfall of civilization.
What are they planning to do with all the animals? Let's say they get their way and we shut down commercial farming. Do you have any idea of the ecological impact of releasing all those animals out into the wild?
I don't approve of them being gone into the wild. And if veganism were to take hold, it would do it gradually, and the industry would wind down gradually. That's what we'd want.
So you'd still want all the animals to die just slowly.
Well, we don't have a grand plan to eradicate it overnight. That's not even what we seek to do, and we don't even dream of that for the same reasons you give. It's just not practical. It's not going to happen, and it's not a viable dream. So I wouldn't think it or plan it personally. Everything happening overnight, that's not what we seek to. That's not what we want to happen.
Gabby would like to know how Hannah is.
Oh, bless. Thank you for asking, Gabby. She was a bit woozy for a couple of days, but she's okay now. Trouble is, thank you, Gabby. That's very sweet of you to ask. I was going to give an update. I can't rule out the possibility of my son gate crashing our party, by the way. He might do his thing of bundling down the stairs and bundling in to get his 15 seconds of fame.
Well, he's on the bloody wrong podcast if he's looking to become famous. Joke's on him.
That's what I said. I tried to tell him. I said, Dan, we are rather small time, We don't mind.
We've got like 50 people that listen regularly, and I'm glad for all of them.
Yeah. So am I. I didn't know it was that many. That puts us at least a little bit above Corrupt FM. Do you know Corrupt FM, Richard, from the TV series People Just Do Nothing?
No, I've never seen that.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's not very well known, actually, but they did a good 5 seasons of it. It is about a group of pirate radio. These 2 guys run a pirate radio station from one of their flats in London, and they just play drum and bass and garage and do MCing over the top of it. And there's 2 of them, MC Grinder and DJ Beats, and they do everything. And the constant running ongoing joke that holds the series together is their delusion of grandeur. They really believe they are significant players in the world of music. They have no idea that they have got about 10 viewers and they are absolutely insignificant. It makes them absolutely adorable. It is a hilarious show. I'm sure all episodes are on iPlayer. You just need to watch the first one to see, to get the gist of what it's all about. It's a mockumentary. It's done as a, in the style of a spoof documentary like Borat or...
I don't know. If you're talking spoof documentaries about music, you're never going to beat the comic strip and Bad News. That was
I don't know that.
Oh, man, you've never seen the comic strip?
No. What's that? It's your turn. Enlighten me.
The comic strip was like all the alternative comedians before they became like famous. It was their sketch. It was their flying circus. Yeah, it was their flying circus. That's the best way of describing it. Jennifer Saunders, Dawn French, Adrian Edmondson, Rick Mail.
Ben Elton?
No, yeah. And Nigel Planner, all of them. All of that crowd. They did a comic strip, and it was basically the flying circus. It was like each episode was unique. A large amount of it was absolute trash. I'm not even going to lie. But some of it was gold. And, they had this fake band called Bad News that were filming their, rise to the top. And, they were all completely delusional about, well, one of them was completely delusional. And it's just, it's great. It's great stuff.
Okay.
I mean, I'll watch anything with Adrian Edmondson and Rick Mayall in it.
Yeah. My favourite, I mean, at this point, obviously, we've got to mention Bottom.
Oh, yeah. The young ones as well, if we're going to go there.
The Young Ones came first, and The Young Ones was a British sitcom with some surreal and fantasy, like silly, completely over the top, impossible situations, and it had a really surreal element to it. The Young Ones,
yeah.
But it was essentially about 4 students in the early 80s living in London. And it was sometimes really funny. My favourite episode by far is when they go on University Challenge.
Yeah, I mean, all of season 2, when they rip off The Good Life, and it is great stuff. All of season 2.
Well, it is pretty special. You can't deny it.
No.
So, that was always a great one. Let's see what else is out there that was rather super. Then came Bottom. Bottom was set in the 90s, and it was 2 of the 4 of the Young Ones.
There was it was Filthy Rich and Cat Flap in between Bottom and the Young Ones. And there was also that one Rick Mayall did where he was a Tory MP. That was in between the Young Ones and Bottom.
Yeah. Where he was the New Statesman, Alan
Yeah.
Bastard. That I watched a couple of them, and they were genuinely hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Alan Bastard. Brilliant. But apparently, that show came about because they asked Rick Mayall what he'd like to do, and he said he just wanted to be rich and get away with anything. And they said, "Oh, that sounds like a Tory MP." So that's literally how that show came about. And I'm like, "Yeah, fair point."
It was a giggle. That one, the New Statesman. I've only watched a couple of episodes, but I do remember them being quirky and funny.
Yeah, he rips off. He steals money from the blind homeless man. I was just like, yeah, they would totally do that.
I don't remember that. I'd say I haven't seen lots of them.
Yeah. But Bottom is, quintessential. If our American viewers wondering who we're talking about, you won't know who Adrian Edmondson is, but Rick Mayall is the guy from Drop Dead Fred.
Okay, I didn't know. He did something in America, did he?
Yeah, Drop Dead Fred. You've never seen Drop Dead Fred?
I don't think so.
Oh my God, Tom, jeez. It's American, but it's still funny. It's still a good movie.
Okay.
I mean, they've obviously toned down Rick Mayall for America, but it's still a good movie. I can't believe you've never seen it. I thought everyone had seen. You've seen Child's Play, though, right?
Child's Play?
Oh, God. What about Beetlejuice?
What, the horror film?
Yeah.
No, afraid not.
You've never seen what about Beetlejuice? You've seen Beetlejuice?
Once, a very long time ago. I don't hugely remember it. Sorry, I'm being very disappointing, I know. Am I letting
Child's Play is my second favourite horror franchise. I love Chucky. He's great.
Okay, if you say so.
What about you? Do you have a favourite horror franchise or a horror movie's a bit too much for you?
Interesting one. That I'm not big on horror. No, I'm not big on horror. I find, I find most horror film flicks are a bit either a bit too much or just not quite my thing. but there are a few exceptions. I'm perfectly happy to watch The Fog, the original version, I think from the 1980s, John Carpenter's The Fog. There was a remake of it, but that was really good. Then there was these two are not arguably more thrillers than horrors. Misery, Kathy Bates, James Caan, made a fantastic film.
Great film.
And The Silence of the Lambs.
Brilliant film. Prefer the book, but
okay, Philistine that I am, I didn't know there was one.
oh God, Tom. Young Ones was on MTV in America, really.
I'm not.
Was that one of the ones they tried to do it? No, it was Red Dwarf. They did that, and Fawlty Towers. They tried that with Fawlty Towers and Red Dwarf. I don't think they ever tried it with the Young Ones. Sorry, Tom. Continue.
Oh, you're fine. So then there was other horror films. It Follows. That is a fantastic film.
That's a good one.
It's terrifying. It is absolutely frightening as anything, that film. But it's very, very good. There's nothing wrong with it. It carries a sort of has a bit of a message as well, like most good horror films, and it's just very powerful stuff. And very, very frightening. The Babadook was a good one, and interestingly, doesn't rely on jump scares very much. Get Out with a lot of sort of like the best horror and the best sci-fi, a lot of social commentary. In Get Out, I've got Let the Right One In, but I haven't seen it, and I think there's a horror comedy that Nikki recommended that I bought on DVD and is proved to be absolutely hilarious. That was Tucker and Dale versus
Evil. Yeah, she made me watch that as well. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
I love the twist of it being the college kids that are the nut jobs and the rednecks being the decent people. I absolutely love that twist.
It's very amusing stuff. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it. Horror is one of my least favorite genres. And there's only a hand. I still collect and keep DVDs. Some horror films have been wasted on me. Like I bought The Exorcist, and that I didn't really get it. I didn't get what was so special about it, what was so good. What I was supposed to be really enjoying.
Exorcist and Omen just bore the shit out of me, if I'm honest. I've never seen what the big deal is about those movies. Maybe it was a thing of the times.
Yep. Something like that. And they've remade versions of it. It's one of I listen to Mark Kermode. Whenever he reviews a film, I listen to the reviewer. I try to keep up with them. I'm probably a few behind. I don't agree with everything he says, but sometimes he has some interesting things to say. One of them was about what film did he? What was the last film we were talking about? What was it, Richard? The Exorcist. Yeah, absolutely slams some of the recent Exorcist sequels. He thinks they're terrible.
Rick Mayall is only underrated in America, so Flo. In England, he's a national hero. He was. May he rest in peace. But he was in the first Harry Potter film. He was meant to play Peeves. And apparently he filmed the whole thing, and it was cut out at the last second.
What, Rick Mayall?
Yeah, he played Peeves. He was going to play Peeves. Well, apparently they filmed it. And then they decided to cut the character.
Well, I wonder if it's in the special features or anything like that.
I've been through the DVD comment. I can't find it. But he did all the filming. He got paid for it, but they just cut it out. And I'm like, why? That was like a perfect role.
Who was Peeves?
The Poltergeist.
Well, they had John Cleese.
No, John Cleese played Nearly Headless Nick.
That's it. Sorry, you're right.
Oh God, I hate how much of a Harry Potter nerd I am. I'm less embarrassed about my knowledge of Star Trek. At least I'm not a brony. I've still got that going for me. I am not a brony.
What's a brony?
You don't know what a brony is? A man, adult man that likes My Little Pony.
Oh,
And I'm sorry, I'm not gonna, lump them all in together. But I just think there's something basically weird about that. Okay, I'm just, I'm not saying they enjoy kids stuff a bit too much, if you know what I mean. But
yeah,
it's a bit weird.
It is, but I mean, being the hipster douche that I am, I'll sort of say live and let live unless someone's being harmed, and I can't see anyone being harmed or even anything particularly sinister. I mean, it's a massive for a grown man to play with My Little Pony. It would be an escape, the way it would be for. I mean, we do the same with video games. I mean, I personally don't have any problem with it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, my escape is Rubik's Cubes. Losing myself in the world of those and finding different things to do with them, making different shapes and patterns. I've got one that's not cooperating at the moment. It's 4x4x4, and it's being a pain, and it won't. It's doing things it's not supposed to, and it means I've got to go into an advanced algorithm that I'd have to look up on YouTube to fix the current problem it's presenting me with. But yeah, there we are. Not an awful lot of fun, but oh well. I dared to take it out of its fixed formation because I've fixed it a few times. It's just when it gets to this one weird bit, you're like, oh, stop it. Yeah. Oh well.
I still have that on a normal 3x4. You get to that last bit when the white's all on top, and if you make a mistake, you screw the entire cube up.
Yeah, that it's in. I still have that happen. Not often. I mean, when I was first doing it, it was all the time, like trying to follow the algorithms. Just developing muscle memory for it was always a challenge. I've got a cute one out of we got the Christmas decorations down from the loft earlier today, and I'd put a Christmas Rubik's Cube away for I didn't keep it on my shelf for the whole year. It's been up in the loft, so that was a pleasant little discovery. It's a very smooth one as well. It flows beautifully. And I'll put the camera on for a moment and show people. I don't know if anyone can. They can't see us at the moment. They can only see your stream.
No. Oh, you want me to switch over to your camera?
Just a moment.
Okay. One sec.
Okay, so this one, that's a snowman. I think that's Santa. That's that little bird. A reindeer. A panda type thing. And then a little robins. They're little robins. Yeah, cool. Yeah. My phone keeps pinging. It's Gabby. She's ping.
Our favourite stalker.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Shall we? In a minute.
My
shall we?
Dick-faced platypus. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. This is not one of my best creations on Sport. I'll grant you. Okay.
I was going to talk about a couple of daft things that had emerged in the news.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So, sorry, Gabby's sending me all kinds of daftness onto my phone. Let's see what Gabby's got to say. What on earth is this? It's the grown men playing My Little Pony. Bless them. Well,
Bless them. Gabby
uh,
asked, "Would you go to a BronyCon?"
no, person. Let people be people in this instance. I mean, why My Little Brony? Oh well, why not?
Do you know who went to to 3 BronyCons in a row, Gabby? Chris Chan. That's who. And he only stopped going because he went to jail for having sex with his mother. That tells you all you need to know about BronyCons.
Okay. Oh well, very eccentric people then. Okay, here's well, that's putting it politely. Well, no, that's because that's obviously warped and illegal. A good reason. Okay, so this was a news article. 24 hours in police custody. Bedford takeaway siege recounted. I'm just going to read this news article. The dramatic developments of a 14-hour armed siege sparked by a cold kebab are recounted in a television program. So they've made a drama. They've dramatized this.
Yeah.
It's called 24 Hours in Police Custody, and we'll look out for that. I don't know what channel it's going to be on. Hopefully, it'll say towards the end of the article. This is
It's on Channel 4.
Oh yeah, I wonder if it's out yet.
Yeah.
Okay. But here's the true story behind it. Paul Burton, 45, and Nathan Turner, 37, were jailed after they threatened neighbours with a high-powered air rifle, and Burton fired at a police car. Superintendent Steve Ashdown of Bedfordshire Police said, "Thankfully, we achieved a peaceful outcome. I've been a firearms commander for 10 years, and this is the first siege of this type that I've dealt with." He recalled the weapon used by Burton was very powerful and praised firearms officers and negotiating teams who trained for scenarios like this on a regular basis. Burton and Turner, who were drunk and high on drugs, initially kept a delivery driver prisoner in a lift for 2 hours after claiming their takeaway was late and cold. They'd ordered food at 3 o'clock in the morning on the 27th of November last year, but when the driver arrived at the 8th floor of the flats, they placed a coffee table across the lift door to trap him inside. The takeaway's owner later drove to the scene after receiving abusive calls from Turner and pleas for help from his distressed employee. On his arrival, his car roof was damaged by an item thrown from above. The duo then began to threaten neighbours and police with the weapon. Burton vowed he would shoot the first officer that walks through the door before shooting at the windscreen of a manned police car. The siege continued throughout the day, with Turner throwing plants and paint and plants from a balcony. I'm sorry, maybe I shouldn't laugh, but this is just so farcical. It's like something out of People Just Do Nothing. He eventually gave himself up at 12:34, and Burton finally relented at 17:49, 14 hours after the standoff began. Burton was jailed for 7 years after pleading guilty to attempting to cause grievous bodily harm and possessing a firearm without a certificate. Turner was sentenced to 20 months after admitting affray and criminal damage. It was an appalling and terrifying incident, so said Luton Crown Court Judge David Ferrell, Queen's Counsel. It's in sentencing.
It sounds more like a giggle than a real siege.
That will be interesting, but it does seem it's on Channel 4. So that was a good one. And then there was there was another good one. There's Milford Haven. I think that's in Wales. Yeah, in Pembrokeshire in Wales. This article is written all in the wrong order. It's quite confusing. So I need to find actually find the beginning. So this is how it all started. So this is like in 100 years ago. Warships for the Royal Navy used to drop anchor in St. Bride's Bay and point their guns towards Broadhaven and open fire. They used to use the sands for target practice. They'd made sure there was no one in the sands, mind. Well, Pop Morris, who went round delivering lemonade, was going down to Broadhaven with his horse and cart, and he found the shell. He struggled back up the beach with it, put it on the back of his cart, and had a very bouncy 7-mile ride back home. He plonked it up right in the front courtyard, and that's where it remained. The bomb was later sunk into concrete and painted red to match the window ledges. When Mr. Edwards bought the house in 1982, it stood there during 2 world wars. And then just recently, I've got to find earlier in the article now. So on Wednesday evening, a police officer knocked on the door to tell the couple he'd spotted the bomb and would need to alert the Ministry of Defence. An hour later, he told the shocked couple the bomb squad would arrive the next day. It was a sleepless night for Mr. and Mrs. Edwards, who'd been told the whole street might to be evacuated. I told the bomb disposal unit, we're not leaving the house, we're staying here. If it goes up, we're going to go up with it. Test proved the bomb was live, but with only a tiny amount of charge. It was taken to a disused quarry in Walwyn's Castle, covered with 5 tons of sand, and detonated. After living in the streets since he was 3 years old, 77-year-old Mr. Edwards was sad to see it go. It was an old friend. I'm so sorry the poor old thing was blown to pieces.
I mean, yeah, that's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is, it's it did its job in the end.
How?
Well, it was a bomb. They're supposed to explode.
I always find them an unbelievable waste of metal, all these weapons. Apart from the human cost and the massive waste, what about all the... Earth's resources are finite, and here we are making things to be destroyed to smithereens, hopefully taking people with it being their intent, which is just charming. But
great, isn't it? We're the best.
What, human beings?
Yeah.
Well, no, but never mind.
I've always said that we just do exactly what any other species would do given our advances.
Well, we don't. You don't know how other species would develop.
Their
brains would be different.
About the little penguins.
Do
you know about little penguins?
What about them? Go on.
There used to be a species of penguin called the little penguins that lived on a little island off the coast of, I want to say Australia, but somewhere like that.
Mm-hmm.
And because of rising sea levels, eventually there was a tide low enough that a fox could cross the strait to the little island where the penguins lived. And this fox crossed over there and in one night pretty much wiped the entire species out.
One fox.
One fox. Any predator species, given our advances, would do exactly the same thing we have done.
What? Take over everything ruthlessly and brutally?
Yes.
Well, whilst we're governed by capitalism, we don't seem to have any other...
That's just natural selection, isn't it? We got rid of medical issues, so now we've got to invent social ways to weed out the weak.
Well, thankfully we've got the welfare state to make sure that doesn't quite happen.
We'll see.
I remember Ali G. Back in the day, when Ali G was new and fun, and He one of the things that did say that he did amuse me was he was interviewing some politician, maybe Tony Benn might have been, and he said, "Is the welfare state called that because it's welfare?"
Brilliant.
That amused
I miss
me.
Ali G. Ali G was awesome.
Oh, the Borat movie was so funny.
Yeah, I liked him in Talladega Nights as well.
Pardon?
I liked him in Talladega Nights as well.
No, what's that?
You've never seen Talladega? Oh, I just can't with you. I just can't with you. Okay.
Am I a disgrace to the species?
You are. How have you never seen Talladega Nights? It's literally one of the most funniest movies ever made.
What is it? A Sacha Baron Cohen?
Yeah, and Will Ferrell.
I didn't. The last one I knew he'd done was Grimsby.
Yeah, this was like years ago. Talladega Nights was when I was still living in America, so that's well over 15 years ago.
Oh no, I don't know that one. I think I know Borat. No, there was the Ali G movie, then Borat,
Yeah,
Bruno, The Dictator,
great movie.
and then Grimsby. He was a contender for doing Bohemian Rhapsody, and I thought he would have. I think that might have, if he'd have got that, it could have been a breakthrough role for him. Actually, he could have.
Yeah, I could see him as Freddie Mercury.
If he'd have got that right, he might have really put himself on the map as a serious actor, and I think there's a chance he could have done. I think there's a good chance that was a fork in the road where that. Yeah, fate dealt him a cruel one. He might have been amazing, and he might have been absolutely, I just got a feeling there's a chance he could have been, a Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, one of those, or
maybe not Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight.
When you think of like an actor and a character and just a complete performance, where someone was just born to play the part, what things do you think of?
Someone who's born to play the role. Anything Daniel Day-Lewis has ever done.
Really?
Brad Pitt, Fight Club.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Can't imagine anyone else doing that.
Yeah. Steve Coogan and Alan Partridge. It's just.
I don't actually like Alan Partridge.
Sorry?
I don't actually like Alan Partridge.
Oh, I do. That works. He works for me. I know Hannah can't stand it either. Arnie in The Terminator. He's just brilliant. His whole presence, it's just perfection in the first two films.
Absolutely.
Where's some ones where they
where it wouldn't have worked if anybody else had done it.
Yeah. I'd need to walk over to my film collection.
Margot Robbie nailed Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And I hate Harley Quinn as a character.
Oh yeah. I've got no real I'm not generally that big on superhero films. So when I thinking of someone, I'll tell you what, who was the character, the person you said anything they've ever done?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh yeah. Well, okay, for that I'm thinking There Will Be Blood.
Greatest movie ever made. I'll Die on That Hill.
Oh, not for me. I watched it over and over and over again. I just could not lose myself in it. I really, really worked for some people I know, you being clearly one of them, but for me, it just didn't work out.
I've watched the fuck out of that movie. It's always in my DVD player. I will always watch that film. Always. It's one of the greatest films ever made. Die on That Hill.
Well, some people I know.
No Country for Old Men is another good one. But I prefer.
Wait. Javier Bardem in that film as Sugar. That that's exactly what we're talking about.
That is. No one else could have done that.
It's terrifying and brilliant, isn't it? We look at looking through a couple any more of these that where you've
Al
got
Pacino,
someone,
Godfather.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, he was, as was Marlon Brando. Mickey Rourke in Sin City. He's fantastic in that.
That is such a great movie because of him.
It's on my list of one of my the greatest films I've ever seen. Definitely, I love that Sin City. The sequel was now if that was forgettable, but the first one was fantastic. Think that's they're let's go over to the Blu-rays. Oh, I'll tell you what. Both leads in Rush. That's Chris Hemsworth as help me out here, James Hunt, and what's his the other? I can't remember. Daniel Bruhl, I think it is, as Niki Lauda. They're both really. Have you seen Rush?
Yeah, I've seen Rush.
Yeah, I thought that was a cracking film. That was fantastic. I'll tell you another actor who almost turns to everything he touches turns to gold. Tom Hanks. Sully.
Dude's a legend.
Sully
was good. A Man Called Otto. That was nice. That was one of his latest.
Films. I've heard. We had the book. I think Hannah had the book. I think of that, not the film. Then,
I'll tell you. What about the other side of this conversation? Roles that actors get credit for, but really anyone could have done it.
Blimey. I don't know.
Because I would argue that Mel Gibson is not that good of an actor, and any role he's ever done, anyone else could have done it.
Well, I'm not a massive fan of Nicolas Cage, if I'm honest.
What?
I know. I've watched after we've had this conversation before, and I've watched both Leaving Las Vegas and Raising Arizona since then. Neither of them massively floated my boat.
Oh, okay. Raising Arizona. That's just a generic fucking 80s American comedy. But you didn't like Leaving Las Vegas.
It was all right, but it wasn't phenomenal.
It was all right.
It was rather good, but without being breathtaking for me. I'm sorry, Richard. It didn't hit my G spot.
Leaving Las Vegas wasn't breathtaking for you.
It didn't. Well, nor was There Will Be Blood. It was in the middle with There Will Be Blood. A couple of steps above mediocre. Not quite up for me personally. There's nothing wrong with them. They're perfectly good films and they're well made, and I can see why other people find them amazing. Just for me and my personal taste, it just didn't happen to really thrill me utterly. The way, I don't know, if I look at my shelf and I think of films that absolutely wowed me. I mean, we've agreed on a lot tonight. Fight Club, definitely.
Okay, so I have to ask, what is a film that has thrilled you? What is your favourite film of all time?
Okay, I can do an all. I've got do an all-time top 10, and then it might be time to call it a night. Actually, anyway, my all-time top 10, roughly in chronological order: Aliens, 1986. That thrills me beyond belief. That film.
Brilliant movie.
Then, as an 80s road trip comedy called The Sure Thing.
That's a good one.
Then there is a film. Now, this one you wouldn't have heard of. A film called The Program. I'd be very surprised if you had. It's an American.
I've never heard of that.
College film with James Caan as this head coach. It's a coming of age story about 4 guys, and it's amazing. Then it's a wonderful, hilarious, wonderful comedy drama film, a sports film. I love it. I absolutely. It's possibly my number one. The Program. Okay, so now into the 90s. Shawshank Redemption.
Great film.
That that film does for me what Leaving Las Vegas and There Will Be Blood do for you. The Shawshank Redemption. It just something
Great
about
film.
the
Better than
power
the
of-
book as well.
Oh no, I don't know that. That's Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption by Stephen King. So where are
It's
we
only
now?
a short story, though. That's
We're in
why.
the 80s. I was in the 90s. 90s. Then The Muppets Christmas Carol.
What is wrong with you? What?
Pie.
We
I
were
think the
agreeing on so much, and then you throw in the Muppet movie. Jesus.
It's got to be done. It's supplanted American Beauty, and The Muppets Christmas Carol. Then there was a film called Pi, The Math Sign. That is Darren Aronofsky's first film. Absolutely love that. It works for me totally. Then what's after that? Titan AE, which is an animated film. It bombed at the box office. I bloody loved it, and I'll die on the hill. That is a fantastic film. Definitely my favorite animated film. Absolutely loved it. Came out didn't do well. It came out in about 1999. Thing might have been a bit drowned out by The Phantom Menace or something, but it worked for me. I loved it. So what was next? Have I done 4 from the 90s? Yeah, I have. Yeah, starting with Shawshank, Muppets, Pi, and Titan AE. Then Fellowship of the Ring, the first Lord of the Rings film. You just get such a sense of scope from that film, and this massive, rich history, and this wonderfully, beautifully created alternative world. It's amazing. I just love the Fellowship of the Ring. And then my last 2 in my top 10 are actually German-speaking films. North Face. It is a mountaineering disaster film. It is brutal. It is absolutely terrible. But fantastic. I couldn't sleep after I first saw that film. My eyes would not close. And then Downfall. It's a film about the last 2 weeks of Hitler's life, and it's my best war film I've ever seen, and firmly in my all-time top 10. So there you go. That's all of them. Hello?
Yeah, no, that's cool.
You?
My top 10 movies. There Will Be Blood, Tremors.
Oh, yeah, Tremors.
All 3 of the Alien movies. I love those.
Oh, they're great.
No Country for Old Men. Basically anything by the Coen brothers. Burn After Reading, The Men Who Stare at Goats, Fargo, anything they made, I will watch.
Oh, I struggle with the Coen brothers. Their stuff there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not to my personal taste. I've watched a lot of them. I've watched Fargo. I've watched was it The Big Lebowski? I've watched
great movie.
The one that I found the most the one that worked for me the best of theirs was Intolerable Cruelty.
Yep.
Yeah, that one did. Go on, to carry on.
Yeah. Nah, I think I'm done. That'll do.
Okay.
Great movie.
Well, I'd better get going because I'm about to start my schoolwork for the night at midnight. Woohoo! Go me! I rule.
Alrighty then. Well, that'll wrap us up for this week. Despite the hopes we will return next week, despite the hopes of many. It's good night from me, and it's good night from Tom. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.